Okay, so 7.4, assignment advice. This one's actually, as we've been going on each section, the videos have gotten a little bit easier. There have been some confusing things, but think back on 1.1 and how difficult the first set of videos was, and how now that you've been adding more and more vocab, they've gotten easier. Sometimes it means you have to sit back and go, okay, what's really going on here? But in general, I think they've been getting a bit easier. I haven't had to anticipate as much. So to go back through, we looked at the rationale, restaurant, in the first snapshot, talked about different kinds of eggs and used that contrastive structure and used 4-4, the rhetorical question. So now when we look at the conversation starters, I'm just going to touch on, again, I'm not going to give you answers. That's not my intent here. My intent is to help you process the information a little bit easier. I would say look at the questions at the top for each one and take them with a grain of salt, because it's not often very accurate, and I don't know why. But the very first one is not what kind of foods do you like, but are you good at cooking, I think is what the first one is, which has nothing to do with what's being talked about. It's, do you like to cook? So he asks, do you like to cook? She says yes. He asks, that she enjoys it. And then she signs. It's hard from the angle, and there's a slight twist. It's Indian. I've also seen it with a thumb. So just be aware that that's the question's not what's labeled up on top. And her response is Indian. So kind of look, it's very conversational. It goes by quickly. They don't put in the effort to be understood. I wish I could say something different. 1.2, the local restaurant. Unfortunately, she signs local restaurant. You recommend, suggest, right? And then he fingerspells 3 restaurants that are not national chains. And I have no idea where they come from. So you're just going to have to slow it down and check the fingerspelling. It's the only way I can say it, because I can't even make recommendations. They could have chosen things like P.F. Chang's and, I don't know, Panera, stuff that people know, and they didn't. So I don't know what to say. Just slow it down, watch the fingerspelling. 1.3. I really appreciate her signing the very first question in this one, because she's so clear. And that's rare in these videos. She's probably the best one that we see signing. And his answer is a cheat. Like, she asks, which of these 2 things do you like? And he goes, I like them both. Just answer the question, right? Smack. And then she says what she likes. So the next one down, 1.4. I want to point out one thing she does. She talks about when she was a kid and growing up, how she didn't like one thing. She refused to eat them. Eat, refuse. Then she says that as time went on, and she does this, I can't remember if she wiggles her fingers or not, but as time passed, as time went on, and inside you can see in her mouth, she goes, like, I've mentioned it in other lectures that we can sign far, right? Far, go far. And is it emphasis? Means even more emphasis, right? In the past. So it's moving the tongue like that is for emphasis. So she goes, over the years, she's not saying she's old, but that as time went by, so you'll see that tongue. Don't really worry about it. Recognize it in other people. It's hard to force it. It feels really awkward. But once you start to get used to the language, then all of a sudden you'll notice, it will start to pop up. So don't really worry about it right now. Just start to recognize it in other people. That's 1.4. 1.5, this is one of the most awkward videos I've seen them record. And it's because they're asking, what's your favorite meal? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? And they keep repeating the full sign, where in context, you wouldn't have to. For example, if we're talking about my morning routine, if I ever said, so I get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, shower, eat, get ready, take off for work. I don't have to sign morning eat or eat morning because I've already established the time. Same thing. So if I take at 12, I take a break and I eat, I don't have to say that's eat at noon because I've already said it's 12, time 12, right? I've already established it's noon. Same thing with dinner. Like, you don't have to repeat it if it's understood. In this context, it's just a question. The other side of that coin is, if I'm asking you which meal do you prefer, I would say, I'd ask, which meal do you prefer, morning, noon, or night? Right? I don't have to go morning eat. Morning eat. It's hard to even do it as an example. It's just awkward, and you can watch them. They're awkward when they sign it. Most of the other time, they're like too fluent, and it's hard to read. This time, they're so awkward, it's kind of hard not to see it as a slow motion train wreck or something like that. So I just want to point out that we don't do that in conversation. Anyway, 1.6, the next one. This is a difficult one. Because it's the deafblind, it's the tactile signing. I want to point out a few things that are in it, and I think the best way of doing it is treating it like an onion and peel off layer by layer. Don't just dive in and try to get all the information to answer the questions first thing. So the first thing I want you to notice is how much information she is getting simply by feeling the back of his hand. The finger spelling, the signs, everything. It's to witness a person in a deafblind person in conversation is mouth-dropping. They're incredible. Just being able to get finger spelling from behind, I'm going to swear, I don't know how the fuck they do it. It's incredible. It's something that would take me years to practice to get. It's incredible. I should probably bleep that out, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm going to have to. Darn it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for now because I'm sorry. It's true. It's that mind-boggling. When they go back and forth, notice that when she's signing, he puts his hand on her shoulder. What you can't see is that he's tapping her for like, I get it. And there are other cues that he can give her. Like if he questions something, if he laughs at something. We're not going to go into that, but this is the feedback that she's getting. Like we've told you to be active in your feedback of, that back channeling. This is his back channeling because she can't see his response. So he's going to start out by explaining to the camera and then shifting over to her what his situation is. He's about to host an event. What's the event? Who's coming over? Then he says, what's his question to her? As a deafblind person, what is her recommendation? And then he's talking about foods. Then she goes through and she will explain what deafblind people are focused on in social situations, being involved in the conversation, right? That's their priority. And then she's going to explain what foods are good and what foods are bad. And like dirty or messy foods, um, anything that's like sticky that would get on the hands, like a hamburger where it could come out the back of it, right? Make a mess. Those are things that a deafblind person wouldn't want. So she lists a bunch of things that are useful. I know it's hard watching it from the side. It's actually easier to read her signing than his because he's doing that in parallel where both hands are doing the same thing. So what I would say is don't do it all at once. Take it layer by layer. Watch what he does, process it, go back and look. One of the things that's going to be really important in the worksheets is we're now at the point where there's a lot of information. You need to start paying attention to where each sign stops, each phrase stops. I can compare it to Spanish or French, Japanese. Whenever I've encountered a new language, one of the hardest things to know is where does a word stop? Where does a phrase stop? Specifically words, because if it just sounds like one long sound, it's hard to break it up. It's hard to know how to translate each individual word because you have to build. Same thing with signs, where if it looks like it's just constant movement, you don't know where the breaks are. So you need to start paying attention to where, oh, this is this sign, this is this sign, this is this sign. Okay. And that will help, especially in the worksheets. Because they're talking about ordering in a restaurant. So you want to be able to say, okay, this item, this item, this item, hold this item, give me this item. So she's going to go through and give different items, different foods that will be useful or helpful for our deafblind guests. So worksheet, this is worksheet number 1. What am I doing? 1. Okay. I want you to go through, like I've done with past ones, just go through and practice each of these. So starters, what was the sign for starter, right? Starter, right? Or appetizer. And then go back and double check these. What's the vocab? Or how would you sign them? Cheese, French fries, right? Mozzarella sticks or sticks. Onion rings. Caesar salad, right? So there are some things that if it's not in what's the sign, you might have to fingerspell. Type them in, look them up. Also note, like open turkey sandwich with potato salad and pickle. What's the sign for turkey? That's going to be the key one to look at. So turkey or turkey sandwich, or there's a couple different signs for sandwich, right? So know what to pick out for each answer. Then, if you see one of the answers that you've sort of pulled out the key phrases, take a look at how they actually signed the whole thing and see if there's anything new in it that you haven't seen. General so is chicken, fingerspelling, lots of fingerspelling, chicken, right? Beef fajita with beans and rice, right? So we know each of the pieces. How do you put them together? Chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes and baked beans. Chicken fried steak. Blah. So chicken fried steak, because chicken cooked steak is probably not going to be right. So chicken fried, much more clear than fried. Chicken cooked steak. Of course, you're going to cook the steak, right? Steak. Or they may fingerspell the whole thing. So those are the kinds of things, but look for the mashed potato. You might not repeat it because it's a long string. So just be familiar with each of these. And then that will help is when you pull down the drop-down menu with all of those, you'll have a better idea. Again, look for the breaks. When they give one, you can pause it, be ready to. They may not be in the right order. That's going to be the tough thing because this is like taking orders in a restaurant. I would prefer that their answers were in the right order, but if you know what they're signing, it doesn't matter what the order is. So you might have to go through and look for one answer once, watch it until you get the right answer, and then move on. This is going to be one that's tough because of the condiments section. Hold the mayo. Yes, they want mayo. Add barbecue sauce. Hold ketchup and mustard. Yes, ketchup and mustard. Hold the ketchup. Hold the mustard. Okay. So there's all these different variables. It's going to be one from each of these columns. So they're ordering some kind of burger. Know how to sign each of them. They're going to choose what kind of bun they want. And remember, if it's fingerspelled, it's going to be fast. So just be aware of it. Then the condiments. Again, they are probably going to be out of order. So just be prepared for that. And if they sign eliminate something, does that mean hold it? The main thing they're looking for is what is on the burger. That's the key thing they're looking for. So if something is held, if something is eliminated, just pay attention to what things are on it or what specifics. I can't give you any more without giving away answers. But sides, fries, or salad, and then the 3 different sizes: small, medium, or medium, or large. And then the drinks: Coke, lemonade, root beer, chocolate or vanilla milkshake. So review those vocab before watching these, and that will help. Then last but not the least is, actually no, this is 2.2. The last one was 2.1, second worksheet. So this is the second one, the second question, the second video to watch on worksheet 2. Again, they're going to give one item number 1, pick one of those. So be ready to sign them yourself and know what they are. Item 2, what's the sauce that goes with it? Then a side, there's a couple different bowls or a salad. And then the last thing is what extras, what are the things did they ask for? That one goes by really fast. So look for the clues that they give. If you know how to sign soy sauce, if you know how to sign napkin, or mint, chocolate chip cookies, right? Fortune cookies are, I don't think that they showed that as the vocab. Take a look at what's the sign. It's like luck cookies. All right. And then the last of the worksheet. Again, look through all of these, review these. Tartar sauce. Pesto. If there's no vocab, if you haven't seen it, it's probably fingerspelling. And sometimes with the dressing, people say salad dressing. Sometimes people just say sauce dressing. Eggplant bacon. Okay. I think that's one of those. Is that one of those vegan things where you can use an eggplant and add like spices and stuff and make it? I don't know. I've never heard of eggplant bacon. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Totally up to you. Bottle. So you're drawing the shape of bottle. I've sometimes seen it like this, but most of the time I've seen it from the side. Bottle. And that's really it. I mean, you just want to review the vocab before you watch the actual thing and then pick out what the right answer is. And again, as I say, if it's out of order, if it helps to jot down what the notes are for each of the different ones, by all means do it. Watch it in layers. Go for one answer first and then the next answer. Then go back and watch the entire video and make sure you understand the entirety of it. A general rule, and I say it often with fingerspelling, with vocab, if you get it wrong and get it corrected, make sure you repeat it so that your brain remembers the correct answer. If you're watching a fingerspelled video and someone gives you the answer, or you read it, or you kind of figure it out, that's not enough. Go back and watch it a couple more times and make sure your brain automatically goes, what's something that gets fingerspelled in here? Artichoke or tartar. Make sure you're getting tartar every time. Your brain is responding almost before they finish fingerspelling it. It's not just short-term memory. It's that you're actually catching it from the fingerspelling. Same thing with vocab. If you sign something wrong and someone corrects you, sign it again so that your brain associates the word with the correct sign. Because otherwise, you you're remembering seeing it but not doing it, and doing it will form a lasting memory. Um, there's an old Chinese proverb that or instruction that if you tell someone something, they're not going to remember it. If you show someone something, they might remember it. If you have them do it themselves, they'll always remember it. That idea where do it, make sure that you are doing it correctly, seeing it correctly before you move on to the next thing. So that's the best advice I have as far as these assignments go. And then we get to the little disclaimer again. So that's the assignment advice.